What a recovery by ACHR. Look at that. Let me just show you the chart. This is the post-earnings reaction by ACHR Aviation. We covered their earnings call live on the show. It was a live special here on Martyn Lucas Investor. I am Vaz. Thank you everyone for joining me. I can see people already coming in. We are waiting for other people coming from the main event. So I will just quickly introduce what's going on. We have massive comeback from ACHR Aviation. There was a big sell-off on the earnings call. We covered the earnings call yesterday live. And this was the biggest live eVTOL show on the internet. It happened to be, again, we had the biggest live eVTOL show on the internet. 5,500 people. Wow. Thank you everyone for joining me. That was amazing. I still can't. Yeah, that was great. We had massive audience. I can see people already coming in. Thank you very much for joining me from Sensei's event. We are covering ACHR Aviation and their participation in the, I will show it on the screen, Canaccord Genuity 45th Annual Growth Conference. What is that? Well, this is Canaccord Genuity. Basically, in simple words, they are investors and they look after investors' assets. And they have this annual growth conference where they address the emerging and growing markets. So we are in the right place because we will be watching ACHR Aviation. This is the ACHR Aviation special. You can see I've got the webcast already started. I've got it on steady. We are starting in about 14 minutes. I can see more people joining from the main event. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining me. We are waiting for the Canaccord Genuity 45th Annual Growth Conference. This is an investors conference, and this might be the investors conference. If you are invested in eVTOLs and if you are invested in ACHR or just eVTOLs in general, you definitely want to hear this. Not many people broadcast these, and there are always some subtle little hints, some little Easter eggs and surprises, little cherries on top, which us as investors, we really want to hear. So the webcast is starting about 15 minutes. We'll be listening to Adam Goldstein, the ACHR Aviation CEO. We covered their earnings call yesterday live on this channel on Martyn Lucas Investor. I'm Vaz. I think we have the main audience here. Thank you everyone for joining me. Yesterday was amazing. What an event. Second quarter 2025 earnings call ACHR Aviation. We had, I don't want to say massive, but we had a big sell-off. Look at here. Look at this. If you look at the chart, let me just zoom in a bit so you can see the candles better. Here, that was the earnings call announcement. Miss. Expected expected 20 cents negative, and we had 36 cents negative. However, ACHR Aviation are still in pre-revenue phase, and they might be in pre-revenue phase for a few more quarters. So, is this indicator relevant? It might be, it might not. But what was relevant was the comeback today. ACHR overnight hit as low as 830, the level of 830. Then, what a recovery. And on the market open, look at this. Almost 10% up. Massive comeback by ACHR Aviation. And I'm not surprised because ACHR are boasting with massive balance sheet of $1.7 billion. What does it mean? If we look at their operational costs, which are, if I remember right, 48 million per quarter, that's enough fuel to keep ACHR going for pretty much another 2 years. Obviously, there'll be some natural upscaling of the operations as we come closer to the revenue phase and as we are upscaling our production. But if ACHR stays in this stage as they are, and they still keep on the same level, they'll be stuck in the pre-revenue phase, in the R&D late phase, and there'll be no progress. They still have enough money to get on for another 2 years. So that's why the stock has recovered this massively. We also know that we have 6 aircraft in production, 3 of which will be used for testing. And we also know, let me bring this on the screen, We are waiting for the webcast. It's starting about 10 minutes. I wonder if this is going to be only audio or whether this is going to be a video conference. ACHR, we are... Let me bring you this. What were the expectations and what we missed? We definitely got some little, not so loud update on the defense structure. We are now pivoting more towards the defense. There are many advantages for the business. We don't have to rely on the FAA, so we can start flying our aircraft. We don't have to rely on FAA waivers, approvals, you name it. You can pretty much operate in the military aerospace, under the military. I don't even know how this works, but maybe somebody in the chat will enlighten me. I'll get to the chat very shortly. So this is giving ACHR more ways and faster how to prove their concept, and also how to test their aircraft and develop it further. 2 billion balance sheet, we got confirmed. 1.7 billion, massive. And why I'm showing you this, midnight, November 7:04, Alpha Xavier. This is something we have been looking out for nearly a couple of months. And this is believed to be the first fully transitional aircraft. Why don't I show you a video? What is an eVTOL actually? Well, eVTOL, the VTOL stands for vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The E there is for electric. Why electric? Well, this aircraft, think of it as a hybrid between a helicopter and a taxi cab and an airplane as well. Because this aircraft can move horizontally, but this aircraft can also move vertically, especially for taking off and landing. So there's massive advantage. We don't need massively long runway to take off. We can literally take off and land on the dime. What is the main advantage? Why do we have these aircraft? Why are we developing this? Well, think of next step in urban mobility. Think of congested cities like Los Angeles, New York, London, Berlin, you name them. Asian cities where traffic can pin you down for easily 2 hours getting from the city center to your airport to catch your flight. This is not only for high-profile people. This will be widely accessible to the public later in the 30s. So we are not so far away. And we are actually very close to you having this aircraft as your private taxi in the Mid-East. In the Mid-East, there will be first adopter of this technology. And as early as first quarter 2026. So what are the advantages? Are there any more advantages? Apart from saving us time from, say, 2 hours being stuck in traffic and in congestion, down to mere 10-15 minutes. Wow, that's massive efficiency. Speaking of efficiency, the operational cost is much lower than your traditional helicopters or conventional helicopters. We have less moving parts, we have less gears. We are not burning any fuel. It's all battery powered. So less things that are going through heat and cold cycles, less things that are wearing and tearing. Another advantage is noise level. If you look at your combustion engine car, and if you look at electric vehicle, think of this difference in noise levels. Think of a helicopter, which is loud. The noise levels are between 80 and 110 decibels. And think of this eVTOL, this electric aircraft, which the noise level is as low as 40 to 60 decibels. That's a massive difference. So if those who live in New York, Los Angeles, big cities, you know how annoying it can be hearing helicopters flying overhead. You wouldn't hear this aircraft at all. Another benefit, another advantage, it's safe. If you look at the aircraft, it's got this in particular, ACHR Midnight, it's got 12 rotors. Flying your conventional helicopter, which has got only 1 or maybe 2 rotors, if one of these fails, there's not many things the pilot can do. There's actually the only thing what the pilot can do to safely carry out emergency landing. However, this aircraft, if 1 rotor or if 2 rotors fail and they give out, you still have redundant 10 rotors. And even if it's not enough to finish the flight, it's enough to carry out the emergency landing. Also, the batteries are isolated in 3 or 4 separate units, which consist of battery cells which are isolated. They are fire retarded, you name it. So this is as safe as houses, literally, but it's moving. So why do we think this is the new emerging market? Because I just told you the main advantages. And think of this not as a high profile people. Don't think of this like CEOs, actors, celebrities flying these. The operational costs are very low, and you in particular could be flying these on your daily commute in the next decade, because the operational cost is expected, or they are claimed, as little as $2 per passenger mile, compared to helicopter, which is, I believe, in lower tens of dollars. So that's the efficiency. The service cost is also much better. The maintenance is much easier because you have less moving parts. You don't have any gears. You don't have any transitions. Each rotor is literally powered by its own unique motor. So ACHR Aviation, look at the stock price, 10.19. When was the last time ACHR was at 10.19? It was literally a week ago. Not a week ago. It was on Wednesday last week. Then we had this lead into the earnings call. Big sell-off. If you look at the chart, it didn't look big on the night. But if you look at the chart, wow. An even bigger comeback. And I wonder, are we going to hear something that will push the green candles higher? Or is it going to be just some mediocre, boring? It's not going to be boring. Adam Goldstein is quite a good speaker. It's not going to be boring. It will definitely be exciting. But are we going to hear any updates? Are we going to hear any news? Are we going to hear any subtle hints? And maybe we will get a bit of light shedded at the future of ACHR, which wasn't disclosed yesterday. So those who joined me yesterday, what do you think of the earnings call? Let me know. Let me know what do you think of the earnings call, because I think although it wasn't as clear as we would probably expect, or we didn't get the guidance we were expecting and hoping for, let's just realize there's a lot of things that can't be disclosed. There's a lot of things under the NDA, and there's a lot of things you can't disclose for security reasons, for strategic reasons. If you are trying to develop a partnership or contract or project with somebody, obviously you don't want your rivals to know about it until it's done. So I believe there's a lot going on in the background, and it won't be long, and we will hear some updates or some progress on the ACHR defense side. Let me know what you think. What do you think of the earnings call? I think it was great. It was great. Definitely, it was a great show to me. And thank you everyone for joining me. Who is ACHR? Ethereum. I mean, if you like crypto, eVTOLs are the new. We believe this is the new electric vehicle sector. Think of Tesla 10 years ago. The early days of Tesla. Nobody believed in Tesla. There were people. Well, I mean, people were hating on, people still hate on Tesla, but for different reasons. But there were people who were saying, this is never going to take off. Pardon the pun. And they believe this is a dead end. And look at it. Electric vehicles are slowly dominating certain markets. Tesla, who were the pioneer in the electric vehicle market, they dominated the market for past years, and now we have the second wave where we have mainly Chinese manufacturers, but they are taking slowly over, and they are taking the lead. So think of ACHR Aviation as, and it's a bold statement, but think of ACHR Aviation and remember this as the new flying Tesla. Does it sound better to you? I know you will say in your chat, I don't like Tesla anyway. So there you go. Who is ACHR? Yes, it's ACHR Aviation. This very sexy aircraft, ACHR Midnight. I had the pleasure? I had a privilege. I had a privilege seeing this live in the flesh on the Paris Air Show, which I visited myself. And the aircraft is just amazing. The aircraft is just amazing. Plus, it's got functionality. It's not like a sports car. It's actually a functioning product, which is very efficient. Let me see if the presentation is right. I can't play audio. I can't play audio for you. Let me refresh.
From desktop 600.
Let me refresh this. The video is muted. We have not started yet. The presentation will begin shortly. As soon as it starts, I'll put it on the screen next to me here, and we can listen. We can have the joy to listen to Adam Goldstein speaking about ACHR Aviation. And also, those who are new to the sector, we are here before the whole world knows about this. Look at the last paragraph. We know that ACHR Aviation are the main partner or transport partner of the main event, Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. They are also main partner of Team USA for the Olympics and the Paralympics. So, it won't be long. 2028, summer 2028, and the whole world will be watching the Olympics. And these very aircraft will be flying around, carrying athletes, carrying officials, media, sponsors. So it won't be long, and literally the whole world will know what an eVTOL is, what a flying taxi is. I don't like the term, but people tend to incline to it. And probably the whole world will also know what ACHR Aviation is. So we are here 3 years ahead of the rest of the world. Current price, $10.20. And I mean, the price targets are between $12 and $18, revisited after the earnings call. So we have up to 80% upside just for this year. And that's based on a very steady and mild guidance in this earnings call. Once we get some progress on the defense and military, there should be much bigger reaction. Because once you secure a military contract, it's not like you are developing an aircraft which you then sell. You are developing the aircraft within the contract, and you are tailoring it to the needs of the military. So we are talking massive numbers. We are not talking $5 million per aircraft sold or off-the-shelf price. We are talking billions and billions worth contracts. Let me just hydrate a bit. It's very hot in here. I've got my little thermometer in here. 35 in Celsius. Sorry, that's humidity. 30 in Celsius. What is it in Fahrenheit? Do I have 87? 87 for our American audience. So it is very hot. Yeah, I need to hydrate. Right, is the oh, we've got some progress. It looks like we may have started. There we go. So I will put this full screen. Let me check if there's any audio coming through. If there's music, I can't play music because of copyright reasons, but I will be listening. There's no music yet. Yeah, my volume is up. There's no music coming through. This should be coming through as well. Yeah, so we are waiting. We are looking out. Just got an insect on my hand, or a bug, or whatever that was. So we are waiting for the conference to start. The webcast will be starting in a few minutes. It's already live. It's already launched, so it won't be long. We had actually, that was a month ago, Adam Goldstein took part in one of the conferences. I can't remember what that was. And he hinted on the defense shift in there on the conference. So, yeah, you want to be there as an investor. You want to be there in the first row. And since you are here, you got your tickets to the first row. What is the stock doing? Let's see the chart. Let's see the chart, and then we catch up with chat as well. I want to address your comments, and I want to know your opinions on this. yeah, it's massive, comeback. It still keeps going higher and higher. So let's see where this stops and if there will be some correction. So who we've got here? We've got a very good audience. I would like to ask you to hit the like button. And if you are new to this sector and like what you are seeing, subscribe as well. We are covering vertical aerospace as well. It's one of the eVTOL companies. We are covering these eVTOL companies and the advanced air mobility market regularly, pretty much daily now. And I'll be bringing you some interesting earning calls. I'll be bringing you more of these conferences because now we have the means. We have a completely new service on our channel. We are now like your telly. It's like if you turn on your telly and you can pick from your channels. You can pick BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Sport. We don't do sport. Oh, we might do some sport as well. Oh, there we go. We got Nikhil Goyal.
Hi everyone. The aerospace
I'll get
defense
quiet.
analyst here at Canaccord Genuity, and today I'm joined by Nikhil Goyal of ACHR Aviation. And today, so I guess just for those that are unfamiliar with the story of ACHR in the audience, can you talk to them a little bit about the opportunity for urban air mobility and the midnight
Chief
eVTOL
Operations Officer
No,
Nikhil
absolutely. Well,
Goyal,
look,
second man in charge.
First of all, thanks for joining today. Nikhil Goyal, Chief Commercial Officer of ACHR. I've been in the eVTOL industry for about 10 years. Started my career at Uber, where I helped found the Uber Elevate division, which focused on urban air mobility. At Uber, it was really formed out of the need and sort of the vision of taking a look at data across our cities. It's very obvious that demand for movements from A to B was quickly outstripping what we believed to be the road bandwidth that we'd see in the next 10 years. So actually started a helicopter division, ran that business for several years, started working with NASA, who had invented these eVTOL vehicles over 30 years ago. And it became very obvious that urban air mobility, distributed electric propulsion would form sort of the next wave of mobility. And so started the Uber Elevate division back in 2016. And that's when I met Adam Goldstein. Adam Goldstein, the founder of ACHR, really sort of was able to go put together all the pieces and more importantly, the team, and said, hey, I'm gonna go approach this entire business with a commercial mindset. How do you get to market quickly? How do you bring an eVTOL to cities globally? And how do you put together the best team to do that? So Tom Muniz, our founding CTO, he started building aircraft 15 years ago with Larry Page, and has basically since that point built a new eVTOL aircraft every 18 months, including
I'm sending a
the
message
Midnight aircraft
on our
that
behalf.
we're building today. And so that was sort of the foundation of the company. Fast forward to today, we've raised about $3.3 billion to date. We're publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange, of course, and we are on track to start. We've already started to deploy aircraft to the UAE this year. We're on track to start deploying aircraft in American cities as soon as next year. And our sort of goal, our North Star here in the US is to get aircraft to scale by the time of the Los Angeles Olympics. We're the official partners of the games. We were chosen for the exclusive partnership to deploy air taxis at the LA Olympics. And so that's kind of our North Star here domestically in the US.
What can you tell the audience about the performance of the Midnight relative to peers and the 12-tilt-6 rotor design?
Yeah.
Good question from the
Tom
start.
Muniz, who I was talking about, our founding CTO, I'll rewind a little bit. So he started building aircraft with Larry Page about 15 years ago. You know, Larry had this crazy idea that looking at the power cost curve of batteries, you could actually use batteries to power electric flight in and around our cities. And he recruited Tom out of the Stanford PhD program to go build those aircraft. He built 5 generations of aircraft with Larry. And through that process, learned a lot, not just about the performance of these vehicles, but also how you certify the vehicles with the FAA. And so he helped sell that business to Boeing. It became a company called Whisk. And then, as I mentioned, he joined Adam to go build ACHR. He had the advantage of being able to look around corners and say, not only how do you build the most efficient aircraft, but how do you build one that's built for certification and to get to market quickly? So there are a few aspects to it. One is just looking at the business case. There are a lot of trade-offs when you build these aircraft around range, speed, and payload. And this is where some of the experience from Uber also helped with it. As you looked at cities, the use case you're trying to solve for is the 20 to 50 mile sort of trip. And to be economically viable on those trips, you need to be able to carry a pilot plus 4 passengers plus luggage. and do that at a speed of roughly 150 miles an hour. And so that's how you form the basis for the aircraft. And Tom, with his experience, looked at those mission specifications and said, okay, well, first of all, you need to be significantly quieter than a helicopter. That's what allows you to blend into these cities. You need to be significantly safer than a helicopter. You can't have any single fault parts. So you have to have full redundancy across the aircraft. You have to have a wing. And then you have to be able to be all electric from day one. What the math gets you to is a design that looks a little bit like an airplane. So it's got a wing like a plane. But then it's, instead of one large rotor like a helicopter, you have a dozen electric propellers, 6 on the back, 6 in the front. All 12 of those are used to lift the aircraft vertically on takeoff. And then the 6 in the front tilt forward and allow you to fly on the wing. And so that was the design that we settled on. I think a lot of the industry has settled on similar designs as well. And that allows us to hit all the mission criteria I talked about. Again, 100 miles, 1,000 pounds payload, at about 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the industry is largely decided on the tilt rotor.
Yeah.
So could you detail what the passenger experience on the Midnight would be like, from a cabin space to getting on board, embarking, disembarking, and what kind of...
Are we going to hear some news?
Bring with them?
Yeah.
We're going to hear some updates?
Again, the goal is 20 to 50 mile trips. It's not super, super short trips. It's also not long trips that are going to be more economically efficient in an airplane. It's kind of the in-between. So think JFK to Manhattan. Let's imagine that you were taking a United Airlines flight from LA to Newark. You take the flight, let's say you're in business class, you land. The way that experience would look is it would be integrated in with United. So assuming you're flying business or you're a loyal passenger, you either purchase the add-on or maybe they gave it to you for free. You land in Newark. You get onto the Archer Midnight aircraft. You're one of 4 passengers on that aircraft. You take a 6 to 8 minute flight into the city. You land on West 30th helipad. When you land, there's a car waiting for you there to take you to your final destination. And you've done a trip that could have taken you an hour to an hour and a half by car. You've done that full end-to-end journey to your house or to your hotel in about half an hour or less. So that's roughly what the journey will look like. We'll have enough luggage space for each passenger to be able to bring a small carry-on. If you've got more than that, either you buy another seat or it would arrive separately for you.
Can we talk about the launch edition agreement that you have with, I think, 3 different countries now? And can you talk about the revenue opportunity per aircraft, or how many aircraft you might deliver and the revenue you could generate per aircraft to provide to countries to be able to evaluate and test urban air mobility routes in advance of certification?
Yeah. Let me provide a bit of a broader picture around our business model, and then I'll get into some of the launch edition stuff as well. So our model is to sell airplanes first and foremost. So we've got an over $6 billion order book that we've announced. We're in the lucky position to work with 6 of the top airlines in the world. Domestically, we've got a $1.5 billion order with United, so it's $1 billion firm plus $500 million options. We have a partnership with Southwest. Internationally, we work with airlines like Indigo. It's the 3rd largest airline in the world, market leader in India. Japan Airlines, we've announced national partnerships with places like Korea and the UAE as well. And so we've got a large order book. Many of those come with substantial pre-delivery payments. So United, as an example, has put down a $10 million non-refundable pre-delivery payment as part of their deal with us. And so we have similar constructs with other airlines as well. So that's sort of the long-term business, is again, selling aircraft, which we think is very economically advantageous for us. As part of that, some of the early aircraft that we've built, we have found an opportunity to deploy ahead of certification in international markets. So I'll talk about some of those. Overall, those are with, so far what we've announced is UAE, Indonesia, and Ethiopia. But the way that these contracts look, first of all, is with the UAE. So the UAE, we've got a very broad national partnership. Mubadala is an investor. IHC is an investor. That's an international holding company. It's the largest listed entity in the Middle East. We've got some other sovereign sources of capital as well. And what we've done is we formed a multi-year agreement with the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, because the UAE broadly as a country is very leaned into the technology, and they want to be one of the first in the world to deploy it. So what they've done is they've partnered with us. We've agreed to make Abu Dhabi our launch market. Earlier this summer, we deployed our first aircraft there. So we delivered our first aircraft to Abu Dhabi and started flying it in July. under what we call launch edition. So what that means is it is a contract with the operator. In this case, it's an operator called Abu Dhabi Aviation. It's the largest helicopter operator in the Middle East. That contract is for tens of millions of dollars over the next 18 to 24 months, under which we will deploy a small handful of aircraft, and we'll start flying that within the country. An important piece of that is the regulatory involvement, because obviously you need the partnership with the regulator to do it. So the federal regulator, their equivalent of the FAA, is called the GCAA, the General Civil Aviation Authority. And what we've done with them is we've created a partnership for them to take the existing FAA rule set and create a pathway for us to deploy aircraft in the UAE ahead of other places in the world. And so that's like very advantageous to us. It gives us an opportunity to deploy aircraft early, and it puts us in place where we expect payments coming from that agreement in the second half of this year. So it's a place that we feel like we're lucky to be. And what we'll do is we'll take that blueprint and we'll replicate it in other countries. Again, Ethiopia and Indonesia are the two we've announced. Ethiopia is home to one of the largest airlines in the world, Ethiopian Airlines. It's one of the biggest Star Alliance partners of United. And then Indonesia, think, places like Bali or Jakarta, big megacities with lots of congestion. There's roughly a dozen other countries that are interested to an equal degree, and we'll talk more about those in the months ahead.
Great market there. Did you buy ACHR yesterday? Let me know in the chat.
Talk to us about the genesis of your partnership with Anduril on a hybrid VTOL drone and what we should expect in terms of timing on the DoD's potential program selection or flight test campaign. For
now let's listen. We might get some, finally,
specifics of the program, but maybe just
some little Easter egg.
Yeah, so look, last year we announced a partnership with Anduril to build defense aircraft. And that's been really exciting for us. A lot of the conversations we have globally are not just about civil use cases, but defense use cases as well. One of the things that's become very clear as we talk to our customers, both sort of America and our allies, is that our first instinct, which was, hey, maybe you put a turbo generator on an existing civil eVTOL, Midnight in our case, turns out that would not be satisfactory to most of our customers. It gets you more range, but it doesn't quite hit on the other capabilities that our customers demanded. Being very clear, you had to create a purpose-built vehicle for the defense applications. And so as we looked at that, we said, hey, let's go work with a partner to build the right aircraft for those missions. We haven't shared much more beyond that. What I can share is that, one is we're seeing that demand grow globally. Two is we've made a few moves to accelerate our progress there. So recently we announced 2 acquisitions we made in the space. One was for a company called MCC, Mission Critical Composites. They're based out of Southern California. It allows us to iterate and prototype much more quickly as we think about what the next defense aircraft looks like. And then the second was a patent portfolio and critical talent from a company called Overair, which is a spinoff from Karam. That was founded by Abe Karam, the inventor of the Predator drone. And so both of those put us in a great spot on the defense side of things, and we'll share more in the coming months.
Exciting. So you have a fleet of 8 aircraft right now, including the 6 that are under construction. How many of those might be used for FAA, TIA testing with type-conforming components versus those that you might deliver to launch edition customers?
Yeah. So what we announced yesterday on our earnings call is that we're currently building 6 aircraft. So we've got 2 manufacturing facilities. We've got our Golden line in Silicon Valley. That's located right next to our engineering headquarters. Think of that as like our pilot line. That's where we put build, manufacturing, QA, flight testing, all sort of in one spot until we get the new product introduction just right. Our large volume manufacturing facility is just outside of Atlanta in a city called Covington. It's one of the largest aviation facilities in the space. And that is intended to be able to produce up to 650 aircraft a year. So at a macro scale, what you'll see us do is complete the new product introduction phase in Silicon Valley, move that blueprint over to Georgia, and then start to crank up the manufacturing out of the Georgia facility. The near-term rate goal there is about 50 per year. So that's kind of the macro process we're in. Across those facilities today, we've got 6 aircraft in various builds of production. 3 of them are in final assembly. And so some of those, to Austin's point, some of those will go internationally as part of the Launch Edition program. Some of those will stay domestically, mostly in Silicon Valley, towards certification and flight testing. We also have an opportunity to deploy aircraft in American cities as soon as next year. So 2 of the exciting things that have happened, One is we were selected for as I mentioned earlier, we were selected for the exclusive air taxi partnership as the official air taxi partner of the LA Olympics in 2028. This goes back to 2 years ago. The FAA published a paper called Innovate 28. And in that, they laid out the vision that these eVTOL aircraft need to be certified and at meaningful scale by 2028 to serve the LA Olympics. So think about it like the next 1,000 days in Los Angeles, we need to get to a point where we are certified and at scale. So that puts like the North Star bookend in place. That's been really exciting for us for a few reasons. Just last week, President Trump put in place an executive order commissioning a White House counsel to oversee all security and transportation for the games. So that puts real federal oversight around what we're doing and real excitement around what we're doing.
Big news for ACHR, this is.
At a local level, we've seen our existing real estate partners like SoFi Stadium and USC, as well as new real estate groups come to us and say, hey, we want to build vertiports to be a part of that puzzle. So that puts a really great North Star on it. It kind of unifies both local and federal governments. But then in the near term, we partnered with the US DOT, the FAA, the White House to issue another executive order back in June. This was the executive order on American dominance in the eVTOL industry. And what that did was it put in place what they called the eVTOL Integration Pilot Program. That set out a
This is the Los Angeles network on the screen.
For us to deploy aircraft in the US as soon as next year. And so that's been really exciting. It's caused the FAA to really put things into hyperdrive and create a pathway for us to do that. And so think of those as the two bookends and what you can expect to see here domestically, and it's part of the reason why we've been able to ramp up manufacturing.
And if I recall, the EIPP, the eVTOL Integration Pilot Program, it's supposed to select aircraft within like the next 90 days.
Yeah. And
then the performance period on that is essentially 3 years, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the exact specifics, but it's aimed to be very, very near term. This administration has been more supportive than any I've sort of seen, at least in my lifetime. They're
100%.
very, very and are excited
Massive
around
support.
American leadership here, which means kind of two things. One is fostering all the American talent and capital to create the industry here, and then two is to globally export those aircraft all over the world.
So can you talk about the challenges at airports? Because I've been to Adam's office and I've seen his essentially diagram of all the different airports and where you could put aircraft. But can you talk about the challenges of securing parking spots and like runway aprons and taxi areas for operating fleets of eVTOLs?
Which company do you think will be adapted more?
First mover advantage.
Will be flown more across the US? Joby or ACHR?
Cooperative and excited about this. It sort of helps alleviate the need for Ubers and taxis and parking at the facility, which I think is great. I'll say a few things. One is, remember, we work with two of the big airlines here, so both United and Southwest, which together operate at hundreds of airports across the country. Two is we've announced partnerships at a bunch of these airports, particularly in New York, LA, and San Francisco Bay Area. So in all of those places, we're doing some really cool things. In fact, I think I just saw this morning. I think 2 years ago, Houston, which is a big United hub, put out architectural diagrams for how they're redesigning one of the terminals to put eVTOL landing spots on top of the terminal. So it's a really innovative use of the real estate in the space. But there's sort of two ways to think about it. There's the short term. So the short term, all these big airports have FBOs. We have partnerships with both Atlantic and Signature, as well as a long tail of other FBO providers. So in the near term, what you'll definitely be able to easily do is land in an airport, drive 3 minutes to the FBO nearby, and then go take off and land from there. In the long term, our vision is how do you integrate the passenger experience more tightly? So as I talked about earlier, maybe you get off your flight, and before you even get into the terminal, you are on your Archer eVTOL on your way to the city. So that's more the long-term vision. We're working towards that as well. But to sum it up, we have I think a very favorable relationship with some of the top airports in the country.
Just an example of what a vertiport concept looks like.
You touched on FBOs just briefly there, but can you discuss your partnership with Atlantic Aviation on preparing those lounges and vertiport sites for Archer operating there?
Yeah.
And what key markets you're targeting to roll out lounges and facilities in, at least initially?
Yeah. Well, the three domestically that we've talked about publicly are New York, San Francisco Bay Area, and Los Angeles. And so the partnership with Atlantic, similar to the partnership we have with Signature, those are the two big market leaders, pretty similar. There's a few things included in there. The big one is charging. So how do you make sure that by the time we're ready to operate out of those facilities, you have electric chargers in place? This is where our partnership with Beta Technologies comes into play as well. We've aligned most of the industry around the combined charging standard, CCS. And what we're doing is we're working with Atlantic in unison and Signature to install chargers at those key facilities. Some of those have already started to take place. I don't remember the exact ones, but I'll give you an example. One that's really exciting is like Santa Monica. It's in a really prime area of LA. It's somewhere where we could start deploying chargers sooner rather than later. And again, as we think about the Olympics, it'll be a key piece of real estate where you'll want to operate in and out of. And today, a lot of those FBOs are underutilized. So it's a good partnership for us, and it's a good partnership for the FBO providers as well.
If we think about both the passenger and military applications of eVTOLs, how important is the acoustic and thermal signature of these aircraft, either with the eVTOL or hybrid VTOL, to those different use cases?
That is a good question
I'll talk about
there.
both of them, but the punchline is very important to both. On the civil side, if you ask yourself, well, why don't we fly around in helicopters today? The simple answer is noise. There's thousands of helicopters that exist across the U.S. In places like LA, there's over 200 helipads. Barely any of them are used. And the reason is because anytime someone tries to fly into any of the helipads, the neighbors they all go to City Hall and complain about them. In San Francisco, there's 32 helipads. Only 2 of them are used, and those are at the hospitals. Even when you fly in to save someone's life, you still get thousands of complaints at City Hall the next morning. That's how much people absolutely abhor the noise around helicopters. And so the big game changer with these vehicles is they're 100 times quieter when they're in cruise, and they're significantly quieter on takeoff. And so you can be a lot less disruptive to your community. That's like really the big breakthrough with the aircraft. I would say outside of that, if that weren't true, it would be very difficult for this industry to take off. And so that's the big step change that you get is the noise signature on the civil side. On the defense side, very, very similar. Today in vertical lift, the incumbent is like this 1960s and 70s technologies of the Chinook and the Blackhawk. And those are very loud, and they also have big thermal signatures. So from a stealth perspective, as we think about future conflicts, they're not very effective. And so that's where we've talked about these new aircraft that we're making being hybrid electric. So when you're over water or remote areas, you can use heavy fuels to get more range. But then when you're closer to sort of contested areas, you can be all electric.
Can you talk about your thoughts on the FAA's Industry Day about upgrading the air traffic control network, the $12.5 billion in funding that was provided for ATC upgrades in the Big Beautiful Bill, and how we can improve automation in flight ops centers and air traffic control towers?
Yeah, I think it's a big opportunity. It's huge for the industry. First of all, it's emblematic of just how leaned in the FAA is. As I said, there have been a bunch of executive orders that we've seen from the White House around aviation. I mean, supersonic flight, upgrading ATC, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're very, very leaned in. ATC is a part of that. 2 is, today there's 45,000 flights per day, give or take, that are governed by ATC. Already, I think the system is struggling to keep up with it. If us and our peers do our job right, I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be an order of magnitude more movements, particularly in low altitude airspace between eVTOLs and drones, et cetera. And so the current administration is taking a good hard look at it and saying, how do we upgrade those facilities to make sure that they're modern and can support that level of increased activity? On the Archer side, we announced a partnership with Palantir. We haven't said too much about the work we're doing. We're doing a lot of really great work together. That is focused around AI and how we can sort of build upgrades to the software integration of these systems. So expect to hear more from us, but just at a macro national level, it's a very good thing.
Well,
You didn't mention Palantir.
So we'll stay tuned on that. I think we're at the end of our time, but thank you so much, Nikhil, for coming and talking to us about Archer Aviation today.
Good, thanks for having me.
Yep,
Good.
thanks so much.
Well, that was a bit underwhelming. I was expecting much more. That was very short as well. That wasn't even half an hour. That was about 20 minutes. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Did you like it? Did you learn anything new? I know we have some new audience who don't know, who weren't watching yesterday, but we didn't learn much new. Obviously, the stock will not be reacting to this because these events are not so closely watched, or they are not so broadly watched. They are closely watched by smart investors, but they are not broadly watched. And sometimes, a lot of times, you can hear that something was mentioned on a conference or on the event, and you can hear it the day after. So that's why we brought you this. We wanted to be here. We wanted to listen. I think if there was Adam Goldstein, the CEO, he would have said something. He would have dropped a little hint. Let's catch up with the chat. Let me know what you think. We've got David Herman. Thank you for joining. I got your email. I'll be reading it and replying to it shortly after the show. It's been mad day. It's been stupid, crazy. I literally came back from work, fired up the studio, and joined the show, so I could bring you the webcast. But you are saying helicopters are not safe. Correct. Helicopters are not safe compared to the eVTOLs, 100%. If you look, as I said, and as Nikhil said as well. By the way, I dropped him a message. Nikhil, let me show myself on the screen while I'm saying this. Nikhil Goel is actually friend of our network. He, shall I say it? He follows us on X. He likes some of our posts as well. A few times it happened, but yeah, I think it's safe to say he's a friend of our network. He knows about us definitely, so that's great to be in the spotlight. And on that note, I've been talking to one of the market-leading companies, eVTOL companies. Not saying which one, but you can take the hint. And we might bring them on the show fairly soon in the coming months. So that could be, or weeks. That could be some very big upside. But if you look at this aircraft, and as already was mentioned, we have 12 rotors. If one or two of them give up for whatever reason, or if one of the batteries fails, you still have redundancy. You still have 80-70% of your systems, which you can override, and they can carry out the necessary emergency maneuvers. So definitely, this is much safer than a helicopter. We could witness this recently. Well, recently, there's pretty much every week there's a helicopter crash reported here and there. But we could witness this in New York actually 2 or 3 months ago. There was a helicopter which had critical failure. Wrong screen. Which had critical failure, and there were 6 or 7 fatalities on board because the helicopter crashed dead on into the Hudson, and thankfully it was into the body of water. It wasn't in the populated area. It would have been much worse. So who we've got in the chat, and what are your questions? Let me scroll up a bit, and let's see. ACHR, yes. Will the SEC sue ACHR? We will be assured ACHR is a winner. The SEC only sues future winners. That's good. That's a good good way to look at it. It's not crypto. It is eVTOLs. Yes. Thank you, Stacy. And I saw your message. Thank you for joining. Anyway. So can we invest in eVTOL tokens? No. But what you can do, you can invest in eVTOLs through your trading platform. In my case, it's Trading 212, and you know who who use Trading 212, you know that you can build your own pie. And since this is an emerging market, emerging technology, it's completely new, and there's no ETF, equity traded fund, for eVTOLs. So I try to include all the publicly traded companies in here, and I try to make it balanced as well. I didn't put only eVTOL manufacturers like ACHR, Joby, Vertical, EHang. I put also the parent companies, the institutions like Boeing, Airbus, Embraer, also Stellantis for ACHR, who are their main partner, and they are supposed to aid with the rollout of their production line, and they are supposed to upscale
I'm Austin Moll.
upscale their think the conference started playing again. Sorry. Upscale their production line. But yeah, these are the parent companies, and also there is the tier below where we have suppliers, the main suppliers and the operators as well. So if you are interested in this, if you don't know what companies to buy in, or if you want something more balanced or less demanding, the reason why I have this, why I'm using this is my cashback money. What you can see on the screen, yes, I know it's not much. It's £140 now. It's equivalent of $165, but this is my cashback money for the last 2 or 3 quarters. So it's fairly good. So I'm shopping, and what I get back, 0.5% on the cash card from by trading 212. I have now deal for 3 months for 1.5%. So it's upscaling. So all the money goes in this pie, and it's just there, sitting there, worry-free. And I will be probably investing regularly, like monthly, £100 or dollars or 200. I'll figure this out. But you can see the whole eVTOL market pretty much is up today. And this could be on the back of ACHR, or this is probably one of the reasons why ACHR has come back and the whole eVTOL market is up. So you can see we have ACHR, Vertical Aerospace, Blade, Air Mobility, Joby, EHang, Honeywell, Eve Air Mobility, and more. But something I brought you, if you are interested in this, it's not a financial advice. It's just for entertaining purposes, but I am happy to share this with you in the chat if you want, and you can have a look. Let me know if you think it's a well-balanced pie or not. I'm not saying don't put all your money in there. It's not a financial advice, but we just do this on my Saturday show, because I do Saturday regular eVTOL and aerospace show, and we just started doing this as of last week and the week before. And this will be a good indicator to track the actual growth of the eVTOL market as well, because this is expected to go up, and we could track the speed, the curve, how the curve is going to be steep. We will see some headwinds, because the whole eVTOL market is a bit like a spider's web. Once you hit one thread, the whole thing starts vibrating, and it ripples. So yeah, if one of the market leaders is facing headwinds, it usually affects the whole eVTOL market. And also, if there are some positive massive news, like there will be the first certification, which is more than likely will be Joby, this will affect the eVTOL market as well, because the sentiment around the technology will just be so positive that it will spread across the whole market and all manufacturers. So this is something you might find useful or interesting. You might not. So can we invest in eVTOL tokens? No. As far as I know, there are no eVTOL tokens yet. Maybe yet. eVTOL definitely the future of transportation. Yes, I agree, Miss Mindbender. We got Bristol Manor, passenger capacity. As default, there are 4 passengers. Depending on aircraft, depending on manufacturer, the default capacity is 4 passengers plus 1 pilot. But later, in the next decade, they are supposed to be autonomous as well. So maybe you can reconfigure your cabin and you can have more passengers in as well. Or maybe onboard luggage. We've got Kennel Listen. 6469. I think they should also make a coin to open up markets to more audience. That's you know what? I've never thought of it. It's actually a great idea. Let's speak with Sensei on one of his shows. What does he think of that? Stacy says they carry 1 to I think 6 people. Yes, they are single seaters as well. They are obviously not for commercial operations. They are for leisure operations, can't pronounce it, but the commercial ones, they are whether it's 2-seater EHang or 4-seater these default flying taxis, as you want to call them. Go Matza, you two. Did ACHR sign any defense contracts with anyone yet? I thought there was some talk about this. Again, this is something that is probably under NDAs. They can't disclose this for strategic or security reasons. I'm sure that there are many contracts in pending currently. We know that ACHR have the $142 US Air Force contract, and they are supposed to deliver 8 Archer Midnights, 8 of these aircraft to the United States Air Force for testing and assessment and probably further development. But beyond that, there's nothing disclosed yet. Stacy says, I believe they did with the US defense, but not 100%. Yes, they have United States Air Force. Bristol Manor says, is it piloted or flown like a drone? Well, it's both. The intention for long term is to be fully autonomous, but there are companies already, mainly Chinese, who have been developing and actually operating and flying passengers in autonomous eVTOLs. And they are literally drones carrying people. Miss Mindbender says we need AA coin, Archer Aviation. I like it. I like it. And Ken Ellison says 100% right. Autonomous and piloted. Yes, Matze, you are right. Stacy says pilot, I believe, and drone depends. Yes, yes, yes. I will show you a video of EHang, what that is about. Let me just get on with few more questions in the chat. David Hedman is here. Thank you very much. 4 on the back row. Yes. Well, on the back row. Oh, on the back, sorry. Not back row, on the back now. Yes, yes, 4. Correct. After Seth Thompson says, after the initial slip on earning, Archer really has recovered nicely. I was scared we weren't going to hold the new 10 high low. Yeah, I agree. But I still would not be surprised, Seth, I still wouldn't be surprised if we get a sell-off again and if we slip back to the level of $9. To me, $9 would be the first buying zone. I missed it. I missed it because I was expecting a bit more of a sell-off, but let's see. I was definitely waiting because I don't have too much free cash this month, so I was waiting for better entry point. But who knows? Maybe I'll be there in a few days. David Herman says I sold my Archer X. Is it ACHR options, aren't they? At 974 for a small gain. Could have been 8K. Woo! Still holding a lot of long calls from 10th of October 17th. Correct? Am I reading it? Am I reading it right? Because I have no idea how options. I'm not trading options. So I might not be reading it right. We've got Aaron Fast says I just bought some Archer. Well done, well done. And Seth says I bought a small bag at the 9.02 dip yesterday. So yeah, up more than 10%. Congratulations. Josh Monroe, I bought yesterday and this morning. Congratulations. David Herman says I bought some more Rocket Lab 2X on today's dip. Wow, that's good. And he's got some Eve as well. $5 calls, nicely priced. Yes, yes. If you look at Eve, where is my Eve on this chart? This buy, yeah, you are pretty much there. Nice. The Joby stockholders behave like GameStop fanboys, aggressive weirdos. Yeah, I don't. This is the thing. I don't like this war between, like, everything needs to be red or blue or black and white. I'm here for the whole eVTOL market, and I'm happy for every company to be successful. I don't wish Archer to fail. I don't wish Joby to fail, and I don't need to be pooping on the other company as well, just so my company can be successful. I think Archer and Joby, if it wasn't for Archer, Joby, nobody would have known what an flying taxi is, what an eVTOL is, because Archer are doing so much for the presentation and for the PR of the whole market. But if it wasn't for Joby, Archer wouldn't have still probably flown their aircraft yet. So Joby are there with the fundamentals, with the progress, and Archer are slightly behind, but they are there with the PR, with the scene. And Joby, they are very quiet with their PR and the marketing. So I think it's a great thing to have these two companies actually complementing each other on top of the eVTOL race. Stacy says, I will be driving now and won't have eyes on the chat. Thank you, Stacy. I saw you corrected some chat noise. There is room for both. David Hellman says that there's room for both Joby and Archer. Which one, as a passenger, looks more appealing to fly in? To be fair, I like vertical aerospace, and I will show you. This is my niche product, vertical aerospace. This is a British startup, British company, and they actually managed to beat Archer on a piloted CTOL flight. And you can see the video right here. And I like this aircraft, and I could see both. I could see Archer Midnight in the flesh, and I could see vertical aerospace's VX4 as well. And it's just such elegant and sleek aircraft. I would say Archer looks more like a sports car, but this one, VX4, looks more like a proper functional aircraft. And yeah, I didn't see her flying yet, but I saw them on the Royal International Air Tattoo, the biggest air show or the biggest military air show in the world is claimed, and the biggest air show in Europe as well. And we actually have good relation with Vertical Aerospace. We had them on the show already. They ambushed Martyn on one of his morning shows, and I also brought you an exclusive interview about this aircraft with Mike Chervenka. He's I never remember his title. He's like Chief Technical Officer. He's like Chief Technical Officer. And actually, let me just show you. This interview is believed to be the most comprehensive and inclusive in terms of information and updates on the aircraft. And I'll give you a little teaser. Whilst I'm talking to you. Let me just bring this on the screen. Martyn Lucas Investor. I'm looking for it live in front of you. Martyn Lucas Investor, Vertical Aerospace. This is a way how you can find any eVTOL content I do, because on this, look, as I'll show, 145 watching. Thank you, that's great. This is obviously I am the main face of the aerospace and the eVTOL sector. Sensei, he does, as you know, because we have majority of the crypto audience. Sensei does all the crypto and chart analysis. He does also his newsletter. And Martyn, obviously, the main face, the main showman. But I met up with Vertical Aerospace on the air show. Shall I play
Michael
some?
Chervenka. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thanks for having me. So yeah, Mike Chervenka, I'm the Chief Commercial and Strategy Officer at Vertical. So I've been here 6 years now.
6 years. So, can you explain what does it mean?
Chief Commercial Structural Officer. I never remember it. But yeah, we had a great chat. In the meantime, the aircraft was covered because it was raining in the morning. It was proper lashing it down, so they covered the aircraft. As we started talking, we had a demo flight of a Typhoon, so we had to stop talking because nobody could hear anything. It was the loudest aircraft on the show. There she is. It was great. It was a great demo flight, but it was so loud, so we had to stop talking. And in the meantime, before the demo flight finished, they uncovered the aircraft, and we could see her naked. And I actually got to walk around the aircraft. There's a lot of unique footage, and I actually have some exclusive footage or some exclusive view into the cockpit of the aircraft. Look, there we go. A lot of details you can pick from the interview. Let me just show you this little peek into the. There we go. Whoop. There we go. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing. You can go. I'll pop this in the chat now. So if you are interested in this sector, if you are interested in eVTOLs, you don't have to be interested in vertical aerospace. But vertical aerospace are believed to have one of the best aircrafts in terms of performance on the eVTOL market, if not the best. And why is that? Check out the interview. Chief Commercial and Strategy Officer. Thank you, MSK. Definitely check out the interview and you will find out why this aircraft might be the market-leading aircraft in the eVTOL market and the eVTOL sector. So yeah, we had great engagement with them. And I don't even, yeah, so this is my favorite aircraft. That was a long detour. To answer your question, this is my favorite aircraft, the VX4. And you will see them on the show again very soon. I'm not saying anything, but you will see them on the show again very soon. So do we have any more questions I missed? Trixig is here. Thank you for joining my checkmate. Yes, David Herman, helicopters are not safe. I agree. Affirmation of the plan is good enough sometimes. Yeah, I agree. But, you know, the earnings call, we didn't get much surprise. I was hoping for a little, just a little tiny Easter egg or something. Yeah, Trixie says literally nothing special. It was just reiteration. But on the other hand, sometimes it's good to reiterate what we have, or at least hear it from somebody else than me. Big Daddy Tomcat 7985. I like the username. Just got here, so I missed the show. Did they talk about their military side? Very briefly, not in depth. Yeah, I was expecting a bit more. David Herman says, scenario, you are at the Grand Canyon. Do you choose Archer or Joby for aerial sightseeing tour? I'm going with this one. I'm going with Vertical Aerospace. I don't know much about the Joby aircraft. I haven't seen it live yet, so I can't. Obviously, their performance is more tested. Their performance is more established. But I'm not putting Archer Midnight down either. I would like to see them both performing first. But definitely Vertical Aerospace. That would be my first and probably last point of call at this point. Changwali says, I've read the shareholder letter but didn't listen to the Q&A. Did they provide any update on the UAA? No, not in the Q&A. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall anything in particular. Is he going to start his operations by the end of this year? No. The operations, first company who will be starting operations will be Joby. That will be just about borderline end of the year and first quarter 2026, with first passengers well into first quarter 2026. So yes, Archer will start flying, testing operations, but not commercial operations. They'll be starting testing operations probably this quarter. I wouldn't be surprised. David Herman says, I day trade the Archer, 2x leverage Archer. All right, I will have a look. You had great opportunity yesterday. But it's day trade. All right, if you're a short-term trader, it seems not to trade. Yeah. Yeah, you got a good point in there. Miss Mindbender says Archer is on Robinhood. Yes, all of these companies you can see here are on Robinhood. All of these companies are traded on Robinhood. Definitely, you have the ticker symbols. You can take notes if you want. All of these are on Robinhood. Joshua James says I bought some yesterday. Great, congratulations. Zach Seitz says, I wish I could add wings to my Toyota car. Actually, Toyota, we know that Toyota is one of the owners and main investors in Joby Aviation. So if you want to buy Joby's S4, you can fly your Toyota indirectly. I agree, Zach Seitz, says Vanessa, flying cars. Yes. Justin Duke Music. Come on, everyone, hit the like button. Thank you very much, Justin. We won't be holding on for long. I will be going soon. I don't know whether Martin or Sensei will be going live after me. Let me just ask them. Any more shows? More shows tonight, and I will get answer to you shortly. We'll wrap it up very, very soon. MSK is here. I had to pop out, Vaz, but I'm back now with my protection goggles. Protection goggles? Did I miss the great big cream? That was, I think we pushed it a bit too far with Martin. I didn't bring any cream. I didn't do any cream or creaming, don't worry. David Herman says, well said on the Joby Archer dynamic. Yeah, thank you. This, as I said, I'm not here for one company. Yes, my favorite is Vertical Aerospace, but I'm not here to poo on other companies. I'm here for the whole eVTOL market, and I'm happy if either of the companies are just doing well. because the more companies are doing well, the more people know about this and see them, and the more public watch them, the more they are accepted with public. And obviously the legislation will be going forward to it, and it will be rolled out and adapted much quicker. Think of electric cars. How long has it been taking to people to start actually liking and seeing the advantage in electric cars, like worldwide, wide scale. Sorry, it's a difficult word. Wide scale. Yeah, it took ages. It took years, and we are still not there yet. People still prefer the combustion engines, so this might be even longer. David Hensley is here. That's a good interview at the air show. Thank you, David. I know you like it. I loved it. That was amazing. Vertical Aerospace was so friendly and welcoming to me, to us. I was surprised. Vanessa says, I need windows if I'm riding it for sightseeing purposes. Yes, definitely. This will be one of the adaptations of the eVTOLs as well. It will be not only the traveling, it will be also for sightseeing and tourism. Thanks, great show, says Chang Wally 6395. Well, thank you everyone for staying with me. I think it was great. I think it was good. Although we didn't learn much, we found some good reiteration. I think we learned a bit from each other. This is a great thing when we can join together and we can talk in the chat, whether you are talking to me or I'm talking to you, or you are talking together in the chat. I think it's a great thing because we have a lot to learn, and just sit down together and talk about whether it's eVTOLs or life or investing in general. That's great. And we had now great cross of two different communities. We had the crypto community coming from Sensei, and we had the eVTOL community as well, and obviously the core members of this channel. Thank you everyone for joining. So Martyn, extra is 24 hours a day. So if you stay where you are, this should take you to the extra channel. I don't know what's on the program in the extra channel, but there will be definitely something interesting from. Let me check out for you what's on the extra channel before I let you go. Martyn, and I will show you on the screen what I'm doing. Yeah, Martyn Lucas Extra. So this is the extra channel which Martyn uses as a backup. Why is this? Oh, Martyn uses it as a backup, and there is also a lot of rewatch. You can restream, rewatch the main events. This is Sensei, literally the show before me. So Sensei is live now. You can see Martyn in the studio. Look at that, right hand side. There's Martyn sat in his studio watching me and watching you. Martyn will be watching you, watching him, watching the back of his head. Martyn, can you wave? Let's see if he waves. Martyn, can you hear me? Can you wave? As a little lag, so let's watch Martyn for another 20 seconds if he waves or not. But if you stay where you are, this will take you to the extra channel. You should be waving now, and you can watch Sensei's interesting show. I believe Martyn might put the ACHR Aviation earnings, or I will leave it up to Martyn. Tomorrow I'm covering earnings call. Oh, there he is. I love it. There we go. That's brilliant. Yeah, he's spinning now. Yeah, you can see how much lag there is. Yeah, you can stop it, Martyn. Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow I'm covering Cisco. Why Cisco? Because Cisco is one of the main partners of the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, and they are actually involved in the network of the in the networking, and what's the word? Basically, they are the data provider, and what's the bloody word? Basically, the network of the vertiports, the communications network, not the actual network like the nodes, like the actual vertiports, but the communications network. So they are a big player in this, and this is their product. So they'll be significant player during the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, and they will be involved directly with ACHR Aviation as well. And I'll be talking about it tomorrow after hours. We are covering Cisco earnings. We might hear some update on eVTOL, on the eVTOL market and the eVTOL product as well. But I'll definitely explain what this is about, and we will get to it more in depth. So stay where you are. The stream is going to take you to the extra channel. Wave at Martyn. Say hi, Martyn. That's it for now. Thank you very much for joining. That's it for now. Take care of yourselves and each other.